Quick reminder for my fellow overthinkers. So one of the reasons that we convince ourselves that our overthinking is not a waste of time, one of the ways that we bait ourselves into sitting around and thinking about doing stuff instead of actually doing stuff, is we change the narrative about what our overthinking actually is. So we take things like our fears of failure and our insecurities and we dress it up in a costume and we call it logic and being realistic. And we take things like our procrastination and we dress that up in a costume and we call it planning or doing research. And so that lets us get away with chasing that dopamine rush that we get from sitting around and thinking instead of doing stuff. Is we change the narrative. We tell ourselves that somehow this is productive, and our brain believes it because we're getting a reward from it, because we're getting a sense of accomplishment and motivation and pleasure and stimulation, like we're being creatively stimulated by thinking about doing stuff instead of doing stuff. And so step number one is to identify what is actually happening, to recognize that when we're in that state, when our mind is kind of buzzing because we're thinking creatively and we're having ideas, and we have to recognize that this sense of progress and accomplishment that we're feeling is counterfeit. We're just telling ourselves a lie to get away with the fact that we're just getting high on our own supply of creative mental energy. And we have to disrupt that, but recognize that the first step to disrupting the pattern is recognizing what the pattern is. Step two is disrupting the pattern. Disrupting the pattern is not the same thing as replacing it. So a disruption is not enough to just turn your entire life around. You can't just turn a big ship around 180 degrees with like one small action, but disruption is the first step to create a fracture in the architecture of your overthinking loop. So here's what that looks like. When you're in the state of tension, when you're feeling the gap between where you are and where you want to be, and your mind is pulling you into that overthinking loop, and you want to default to planning and strategizing and analyzing and thinking. Instead of doing that, you need to do something. And it doesn't really matter what it is. You just need to disrupt the thinking pattern. And the best way to do this, in my experience, is just to organize your workspace. Clean something. Put several things that are out of place back where they belong. The area where you are supposed to be doing your next most important tasks, you need to clean that shit up. A messy space is just a mirror of a messy mind. Like your space is an external reflection of your internal state. Step two is disrupting the overthinking pattern with action. So clean a dish, text your friend back, call your mom, clean your workspace, get organized, get out of your head and back into action. Step number three to breaking the overthinking loop, you have to identify what your next 1 or 2 or 3 high priority tasks actually are. Now, if you're an overthinker, this is notoriously difficult because your mind wants to take you into that space where you're looking for the perfect next step. And that is a trap. That's just going to take you down another overthinking loop. It's like, what should I do next? I could do this, I could do that. And then you've got 100 new ideas and they all feel really creative, but there's anxiety because you're like, I don't know which one is the right one, right? You got to dial in. You got to pick like 1 to 3 high priority things every single day. So how do you identify what those things are? Maybe you already know what they are. And if you know what they are, write them down and just get to work. Like, you know what you're supposed to do. Just take a deep breath, suck it up, and get to work. If you don't know what they are, if you've got like 100 things that you know you need to do, well, there's a couple of things that you could do. You could utilize things like the community that I built. This is what we work on every single day, is breaking the overthinking loop and identifying exactly what our next most important tasks are and smashing them together. We actually created a custom ChatGPT that helps you do exactly this. You just talk to it, you give it a few prompts, and it will help you identify exactly what your next step should be. So if you want that free tool, hit me up. I will send it to you. And then step number 4 to breaking the overthinking loop is you've got to retrain your brain to get the reward from evidence and having support from like-minded people who are on the same page as you and who are holding you accountable, instead of getting the reward from the thinking. Once you've identified what you know you need to do, and once you've done it, you need to share evidence of having done it with people who can hold you accountable. People who actually mean it when they clap for you. People who are also overthinkers, who struggle with this problem every day as well, who know the pain you're in, and who are genuinely proud of you because you broke the overthinking loop and you got down to action. And this is exactly what we do inside my community every single day, is we get together, we huddle up, we identify our high priority, next most important tasks. We share them with each other. We tell each other what we're going to do. Then we do it. We smash it. We come back and we report and we cheer each other on. We give each other support. This changes the notion that discipline is built in a vacuum. This idea that if you just have enough force, enough willpower, you can just force your brain to do something. It's not going to work that way. You can't white knuckle your way out of overthinking. You need to retrain your brain to get a reward from actually accomplishing something and then feeling a genuine sense of pride and connection to your people because they see you doing it and they're happy for you and they're proud of you and they're cheering you on. So come hang out with us. Come join the community. The link is going to be somewhere in the description or somewhere here. Have a good day.